Hello and welcome to In the Court of the Wenton Knave. Today I'm reviewing this Project 1 at the Jazz Cafe, live at the Jazz Cafe. Is that King Crimson? Yeah, around this time there was a compilation released. I'm not going to review a compilation, but I do think it's good. It's a live compilation called Circus, and it's one disc called Neon Heat Disease 8, which is basically 80s and 90s, and one disc called Fractured, which is 60s and 70s, technically. Although the band performing those songs is mixed, obviously, but that's highly recommended if you like that kind of thing. And we've already reviewed Vroom Vroom, so yeah. Project 1 live at the Jazz Cafe. This is Tony Levin, Trey Gunn, Bill Buford and Robert Fripp. Is this King Crimson? Well, it doesn't say King Crimson on it. This is a fractalisation of King Crimson, so it's a bit of King Crimson. Arbitrarily I say, yeah, if you will put it in the King Crimson section, I think. A very active time. I mean, the DGM, early days of DGM, well, not early days, but really active time of DGM, releasing a lot of stuff, lots of activity. Bill Buford did Buford Levin up at extremities at this point, which is great as well, and kind of does things in a way that King Crimson wouldn't, so that's cool. But yeah, the plan to stop history repeating by taking time to do the next album failed completely, and Nashville rehearsals were a bit of a disaster, well, complete disaster. But Fripp didn't want to stop it, interestingly, even though he says he didn't really enjoy doing it. There was an attempt to keep it going, and this very clever solution. The problem with the double trio, the size of it and everything, and everyone playing at once. Fractalise, have different versions of the band with different people trying different things, and that way they should find a way forward instead of just repeating themselves. Possibly, we'll see if that works. But regardless of whether it works in the end, this heralds one of the most creative periods of King Crimson. The projects are a thing. You need the projects in your life. This is Project 1, live at the Jazz Cafe. I think briefly this was available individually, and then it was deleted, and I was distraught because I hadn't ordered it. But then a box set was released, The Projects, which was the other deleted one, which is the Project 2 live groove, so I've got to get that as well, and the Project 3 and Project 4, and that is essential. So technically I'm reviewing a box set in bits through some of these videos. You need that. You need that if you're a King Crimson fan and you like improvised music. That's the one. That box set is awesome. So this is the first disc of that. This was 2 weeks after Project 2 actually, so it's a bit tricky, but I decided I'll do these numerically. So all the Project 1 albums, then all the Project 2, then all Project 3, then Project 4, and I can talk the narrative through it rather than trying to jump around. I think this was booked well in advance. I think that's what it is. Fripp and Buford supposedly were talking about it like 1 or 2 years previous to this. And Fripp was still, willing to play with Bill. So Bill had not been sacked. It wasn't like that when he was rude in Nashville. It wasn't like that was the end of him, because Project Zero, I think Project Zero, was suggested by Fripp as just Fripp and Bill. Maybe that would have been Project 1. Actually, I don't know. And Bill said no, boring. So Bill said, well, what if we get Tony Levin? Okay. Well, I'll have Trey Gunn then. So that's how this came about. And interestingly, Bill Buford was given the job of the mixing consultant for this album. It's 9 tracks. The problem was he hated it. He just hated all of it. He just didn't relate to it at all. It ain't jazz. I think arguably that was a bad choice, and the album suffers as a result, and actually the band were great. But this isn't the best representation of that band. It's okay. It is good, but it's a dip into rather than listen to the whole thing. You wouldn't sit and listen to the whole thing really. A couple of brilliant moments, but I mean the brilliant moment is actually on the Circus compilation. It's probably the best track. So if you get that, you don't need this. And maybe Bill's gone acoustic. Interestingly, Bill has now abandoned the Simmons drums and all that 80s stuff, and that's odd after years of the Simmons. But remember, he had a complete disaster with Yes, technically and artistically, and like all musicians, they had to escape from the 80s. And I think maybe Bill was broken by the experience with Yes, and controversially, I think the double trio wasn't the best vehicle for Bill Buford. Obviously Bill Buford's contributions are fantastic. Bill Buford doesn't need another drummer though. You think how he plays in the 80s, that economy and that clarity of ideas he has there isn't there on the double trio, because it's just a clattering cacophony. And really he needed to go back to jazz, which was the right decision, and it was wonderful when he did. Track 1 is 4I1. I don't know how to pronounce that. 411 or something, I don't know. It suddenly cuts in with soundscapes and noisy soloing. Very aggressive. It's not like there's a slow build up with soundscapes or anything like that, and then it just fades, and that's it. That's strange. And then 4II1 This is some leavening on touch guitar, it says here. I wonder what they mean by touch guitar. Do they just mean stick? Much better bit. Very 80s though. Then we've got 1II2 or 122. This is good. This is very good. That's the sustained stuff. Little bit sort of 72 to 74 type stuff. And it stops, and then Bill starts with this really slow rhythm. That's really good. That's a special one. Then we've got 4II4. Some stick noodling, some percussion, heavy bass riff comes in, evil noises, an inkling of jazziness. So maybe Bill is pulling in that direction, and the rest of the band are saying no, we need to be heavier, and it gets more and heavier, but doesn't really go anywhere. Just more. Then we've got 2II3, quiet sounds stuff. Track 6 is 3I2. I wonder how they came up with these titles. Funky tapping rhythm with soundscapes. I hear a disconnect between the rhythm section and Fripp, and Gunn seems more in tune, and maybe. I'm reading too much into it. And track 7 is 3II2, that's the Contrary Construction riff again, with funky rhythm. Track 8 is 2II4, really dominated by Levin and Bill, that kind of stuff. I mean, all this stuff really, it's dominated by Tony Levin and Bill Bruford actually. It's the new flying brick wall in a way, you know, in that Trey Gunn and Fripp are doing something slightly different, and there's a disconnect, I think. Although maybe Gunn is more listening to the others and Fripp kind of can't. And again, maybe I'm really reading too much into it. And finally, track 9, 4I3. Whoa, heavy stuff. It's one of those things where it's quite funny, but it's really good. It's great to hear Bill Bruford doing something different, and it's really good. So, you know, going out on a high, actually, with that track, so that's great. But overall, there's some good stuff on there, but it seems to be not a good edit of some really cool improvised stuff. Live at the Jazz Cafe. See you next week.